According to official announcements by the Polish Ministry of Finance, Poland is heading towards public debt at 75% of GDP, a scenario that could become reality in just 4 years. Interestingly, the ministry's data indicate that public debt will exceed 66% of GDP as early as next year. Despite this, the Polish government has not decided to amend next year's budget, which assumes a high deficit, nearly 272 billion zloty. Perhaps the government is counting on the fact that in 2 years, when the budget situation will be really bad, there may be a different government in power, because in 2 years, we will have parliamentary elections, and perhaps there is already an idea to push this debt onto the next ruling team. The data indicate that the constitutional debt threshold may be exceeded next year. Meanwhile, the Polish government is not activating the mechanisms for protecting public finances provided for in the Polish constitution, because the methodology it has adopted underestimates the projected debt for next year by about 12.5%.
Gdy uchwalano konstytucję i wprowadzono tam celowo.
When the constitution was passed and a public debt limit of 60% of GDP was deliberately introduced, the intention was not to use legal and statistical tricks to underestimate this public debt. If the Polish Minister of Finance talks about full transparency of public debt and public spending, why not report the entire public debt? The government's statistical maneuvers understate the value of the debt, but its repayment will still fall on the public. The debt has increased by over 800 billion in 3 years. In the entire 8 years of Law and Justice's rule, we did not accumulate as much debt as they did, ladies and gentlemen, in 3 years. If public debt had not grown uncontrollably and its servicing had been cheaper, the economy could have grown faster. We would have had more funds to support entrepreneurship, innovation, science, and security. We would also have been prepared for potential crises.
Co będzie, jeśli na świecie
What will happen if interest rates rise globally? What will happen if Poland's credibility and the risk of buying Polish bonds increase? Then the costs of borrowing, repayment, and rolling over public debt will rise, and we will have even less money for current expenses. These funds are already lacking. This translates into a catastrophic situation in the healthcare system, which was supposed to undergo a revolution under the current government. These problems will disappear as if by magic. The opposition points out that at the end of its term in office, Law and Justice left approximately 26 billion zloty in Poland's National Health Fund reserve. The current situation of the fund, caused by the dire state of public finances, is completely different. Today, the Polish National Health Fund's reserve is much smaller, literally at the level of a few billion, 2 to 3. But we also hear about situations where there are moments when the National Health Fund has no financial resources at all. The reserve is one thing, but currently the Polish National Health Fund is short 14 billion zloty. Poland is drowning in debt. The healthcare service is in collapse. Fortunately, culture is flourishing in Poland under Tusk. For example, in Busko-Zdrój, the Polish Ministry of Culture financed a sculpture in public space for independence. Donald Tusk promised Poland 100 concrete measures. A red-naked woman for 300,000 zloty in a park in Busko undoubtedly also shows Poles a few concrete measures. But it is not clear whether these are the concrete measures that those who voted for Donald Tusk had in mind. Meanwhile, the Polish Minister of Finance talks with unwavering enthusiasm about the growing economy, and in his imagination, he can perhaps already see the streets and squares of cities decorated with monuments and avenues bearing his name.
Chce pan przejść do historii?
Do you want to go down in history? Of course, I think everyone has that dream. But do you want to go down in history as the one who led to a historic increase in debt?
Coraz trudniej będzie funkcjonować.
It will be increasingly difficult for the Polish economy to function, increasingly difficult to obtain money from abroad, and the Minister of Finance is pleased with himself. This is a picture of a government that really does not know what to do. It does not know how to deal with this. If Poland's coalition government does not take immediate corrective action, its budgetary policy will go down in history. However, it will be remembered as an example of incompetence.